Hello, I'm Greg Adamore from Encore Commercial Inc. I'm the real estate coach, and today I have a special guest, Keith Lynam from Las Vegas Board of Realtors. We have a great show, and we appreciate you being with us today. As usual, we'll be here every Tuesday at 5 p.m. and Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. So we look forward to your calling in and viewing with us. Keith, I line them up. I like the way that has a sound.
Easy to remember that way.
Easy to remember, yeah. You are the Vice President-elect of the Board of Realtors, I understand.
Correct. Just elected Vice President of the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors, and thanks for inviting me over.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations on that. I know that you've taught classes. You're a senior faculty member, and
absolutely
a lot of experience with the legislative council. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I know there's recently been a lot of legislation, a lot of passed to protect homeowners' rights and.
Sure, absolutely, and it's the good news, bad news of the last 6 years. I've been legislative chairman for the Nevada Association of Realtors 4 out of the last 6 years, and they haven't been easy years, as we all know, for the standpoint of the real estate market, what's gone in, and it's funny. One of the things that I was just talking to someone the other day about the differences when you get into the business. I got in the business in 2004, and as we all know, the next 3-4 years were just crazy. They were a boom. It was easy to be a real estate agent. It was easy to get in trouble, but it was easy to make a living as a real estate agent. And so those were the good years, the easy years. And then when 2009 comes around, that's when I was chairman the first, we really started to see the market shift, and we started to see Nevadans shift, and the attitude of the legislative body compared to now was 180 degrees.
Yeah, we've sure seen a lot of sweeping changes and a lot of reform lately, and I guess you got a ringside seat on some of those discussions.
Yeah, and I think they've been for the better from Nevada. Nevada, the song, our Nevada State song has, means something. Home means something. Home means Nevada. And I think we've lost some of that, frankly. I think we've lost some of the security. People aren't as secure in their home. They're not as safe in their home. It used to be you'd get home, you'd kick back, and you were home and you were safe. And I think we've lost some of that here. Yeah,
lots of the peace and tranquility of that home. But home is still a man's castle. It's still your sanctuary. And thanks to you and some of the legislators, we've had Attorney General on the show and Marcus McConklin and some people from home. Yeah, and some people you sat on some panels, I know, with them. And so I think together we collaborated to bring about some good changes. What are some of the changes that we can expect? I know there's a new homeowners Bill of Rights is starting in October here. We're towards the end of 2013 now. And how are some of these things going to impact the market?
First, not to correct, but my attitude has always been there's no legislation that has impacted or affected the market. That's impossible. I, tongue-in-cheek, will say that if there was a way to impact this market, I would craft and draft and introduce and get passed a bill that would eliminate about 10,000 realtors and have the rest for me. That's legislation I could get behind. So all kidding aside, there really isn't anything that impacts the market. What impacts legislation, what affects the market, is human behavior. A lot of people wanted to blame 284, AB 284 of the 2011 session on the crash, or this is slowdown in the marketplace from October. Well, that's not the case. What happened is we had robo-signings. Banks were signing or assigning goals to their processors. They had to sign 3,000 foreclosure papers a day.
Wow.
They were writing names down. They were forging names. We had notary that were notarizing illegal documents. We had forgery and illegal foreclosures. That's why 284 came. It stopped those kinds of things. So when we talk about the Homeowners Bill of Rights and what happens with this, well, just a week and a half ago, a bank admitted and settled their court case of $1 million plus, and in addition to that, the homeowners got their deeds back to 2 houses. Now, I don't know if those houses were foreclosed and sold, or if they were just foreclosed and hadn't been assigned through their asset managers. But regardless, this bank admitted wrongdoing. they violated their dual tracking. So they had a loan modification worked out and agreed to, and yet the bank foreclosed on these properties. So in a nutshell, dual tracking. They agreed, again, $1 million plus, and they got the deeds back to 2 houses. This couple did. And so that was why, one of the reasons why 321 came in. The other thing is another major bank just about a month ago released its findings where they were giving Applebee's. I don't know what it is about Applebee's, but they're giving Applebee gift cards out to their employees for losing documents, for not scanning documents that they got. Entire regions were shutting their short sales out of their Equator system. So they were kicking out the system, these short sales that were in process. And as you know, once you get kicked out of the system, you got to start all over again. So again, those are human behavior things that impact and affect the market, not legislation. It's human behavior.
Yeah, you mentioned court cases, and I'm told that a lot of these have to go into federal court, that sometimes the state courts maybe don't have the clout that they do. A lot of people are suing their banks, and if they have, I guess, proper standing to do that, it's kind of like a David and Goliath, though.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and a lot of that is the banks have more money, so they're going to appeal any of those decisions. And so that's why it goes to the federal court level, because it gets appealed up the chain. They all start in a district court level, and then they end up in federal because it's the bank's strategy to outspend them legally. So they try to get there. The case that we just talked about, thankfully those people had the resources that they were able to fight it out to the point where they were losing every step of the way. The bank finally said, we need to get out of this. Sure. It's not going well for us. Yeah,
may need to get the name and number of that attorney.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure he's got it out there for all of the viewing public to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's nice for once in a while for David to win one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, it's nice to see that the legislation has been crafted to protect homeowners against those type of illegal foreclosures. It seems that there's quite a large number of homes that are empty in the Las Vegas Valley now, and a lot of homeowners, particularly buyers who are looking to buy, and of course homeowners that are trying to protect the integrity of their neighborhood's values. We're wondering what's happening with those. Some people call them the shadow inventory. It's kind of a buzzword in the industry. Do you think now that some of this Senate Bill 321, some of these things that have been laid to pave work, they've been paved, are some of these properties going to start reaching the market now? Do you think there's more notice of defaults coming? And
well, there's a couple things in there that we can talk about 321, and it's important. But I understand you mentioned you had Marcus Conklin on, and the Lead Institute just. Not just, but recently released anywhere from 40 to 55,000 homes that were delinquent, no owner, no utilities, vacant homes that had not been foreclosed on. So the definition of shadow inventory has changed. It used to be bank forecloses on a house and then doesn't list it, doesn't put it on the market. That used to be shadow inventory. Now it's these that are just defined as such, that seriously delinquent, no one's there, but the bank hasn't foreclosed on them. So that, in my mind, if we fix that problem, we go a long ways towards fixing the real estate market in Nevada. And so one of the things that we really got behind was Senator Aaron Ford sent, I believe it was SB 278, and it was the Vacant Abandoned Homes Bill. Which in a nutshell says if you've got a home that fits this criteria, and there's a process that you can send these homes through that would determine whether it's an abandoned home. If it's deemed abandoned, it can be put on a registry and the bank can foreclose on it in 60 days. Sounds simple. Sounds like something we should get behind. We did. Sounds like it's something that the bank should get behind. They didn't. I've been told by a couple of the bigger banks that one said we may use it 4 times. I'm not sure why. Well, legally, I can understand that the attorneys do what they do, and their liability, legally wise, is at peril. So, but we got to figure out a way that we can get that process started here in Nevada.
Right.
With 50,000 homes that are sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
we could absorb that pretty quickly. Would have been nice to have it a couple months ago.
Oh, definitely. It's been a struggle. As you've been a realtor for a long time, we have buyers that come to us, and there's such a small inventory of homes on the market. And of course, that spiked prices up recently. And where do you see the market now in light of these type of things that have happened? And you've been real estate here since 2004?
Mm-hmm.
I know you've been involved in the board, educating, and in Windermere Properties, one of the best companies. Where do you see the market now? It seems like it's been an uptick lately. Have you been noticing? I know prices going up. There's still a healthy demand, isn't there?
Yeah, 30% year over in appreciation.
Strong.
Certainly has helped those that have bought at the right time, but it's also helped. I mean, you can imagine that people that are even when they were 50%, that 30% takes a big chunk and makes that short sale. And there's a lot of those people that just want out. As I started to say that. I think Nevadans have lost that security, and so now they're looking for options. They're looking for people to come and just say, we can help you.
Sure.
How do you want to be helped? Most of them just want out. The dream of their home is gone. Even if they could, they don't want to stay. I believe there's a lot of those people that just are praying that they get the answers to their prayers and get out. So that helps that process. 321, to go back, and I'll answer the question where I think it's going, but I think 321 does a number of things to help that homeowner. One, it puts timelines in. One of the things that got people upset was the people that were not making their payments, whether they could or couldn't, really isn't the point, but they were living free. We've heard that all. Deadbeat homeowners. And this is coming from the real estate industry, not from me, ever.
Right.
I'm there to protect the private property rights of that person. So they are there, whether they can make their house payments or not. But what we did is we really put some timelines in. So the homeowner has a finite amount of time to get a loan modification or a mediation, and not have to worry about the bank foreclosing on them. But once they got to the end of the line, they couldn't restart it with something else. So if they did a loan modification, got to the end of the line, didn't like what they heard, they couldn't start over and say, well, we're going to do mediation now. They only get one bite of the apple, but it's a very tight timeline. On the banks as well. The banks have a timeline as well.
Oh, I see.
So that
I
really
didn't
protected the
realize
homeowner.
that. So they're going to have to decide if they want to do the loan modification. And of course, you mentioned dual tracking. And when we talk about SB, we're talking about Senate Bill 321. It's a homeowner's Bill of Rights. Prohibits dual tracking. And I think there's a notice, usually within the first 30 days, that the loan servicer will send the homeowner and says, we would like to open up dialogue with you. Do you want to keep your home? Do you want to do a loan modification? Do you want to short sell it or allow it to foreclose? Or in some rare cases, maybe a deed in lieu of foreclosure. There are some people that just want to mail them the keys and say, like you said, it's not fun anymore, it costs too much pain, and a lot of them just want to move on. But I think because there are a wide variety of sources of help now, and we've had someone from the Home Again program here, a lovely lady did a great job, Sandra Hodeggy. She came in from Michelle Johnson's office and shared that there is a counseling center available under one roof now. And with some of the money that the state was allocated from the federal lawsuit, there's free attorneys to give advice to homeowners who are distressed or people that are trying to repair their credit, maybe have had a foreclosure, had a short sale or bankruptcy. There's still hope for these people now, and I understand even within 1 year there's some new legislation that's in the works. I don't know if the banks have applied it yet, but for some situations where people have lost income or maybe 20% of their income has declined, and they've had to sustain a short sale or a foreclosure, that in some cases within 1 year they may be eligible to get another loan. And I'm not sure if it's just FHA or all types of loans, but that's good news for the homeowners who thought, hey, I've lost it, I can't get another home for 3 years or 5 years. Yeah. So I think they're starting to try to help us recover, especially those who've been hit the hardest.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we need jobs. There's no question about that. And one of the things that's always gotten us out of these recessions, every recession, has been real estate. The real estate market has generally driven us out of these recessions, and this will be no different. I know that there's two trains of thought. One's let the free market decide all these things and get government out of it. But that's great. That's fine to say. But that, the free market didn't work when we bailed out the banks. So that kind of argument has already been settled. If we're going to bail out anybody with the American public's taxpayer dollar, let it be the American public.
Amen.
But again, that debate, whether side you're on, it's already been settled. The banks already got financial institutions, already got bailed out. So when I hear people say, well, that's already been, the American people have already bailed out the banks, why wouldn't we bail out the American public? And so that's what we're debating today, is whether we should continue to put programs, admittedly some, if not a lot, have failed. But we got to keep on trying. And I've always been on the side of that homeowner that's in there trying to do what's right, trying to protect their family, trying to protect their home. I'm always going to be on that side versus the other.
Yeah, and I support our industry and our home buyers, and we want them to have a quality.
We need
of life.
lenders. We need banks.
Absolutely.
No question.
Sure.
But let's protect the homeowner.
Oh yeah. And the so-called too big to fail.
Exactly.
That issue.
Bigger now than they were then, by the way.
And probably more profitable. So.
Well, absolutely are.
It's so important that the public knows that they can contact a realtor such as yourself, an experienced professional, honest, with a lot of integrity, and has the resources. If we don't have the answers, we know where to get them.
Absolutely.
And we're trying to educate the public. We're trying to educate the real estate community to where they know where the answers are for the homeowners, because the market really has kind of reinvented itself. When you say in the last 5 years, I mean, traditionally compared to what's happened.
I think in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We've been in here for 20 minutes. I think it's probably redefined itself 4 times.
That's the truth.
Just 6 months ago, we were talking about short sales are going to take over the world, and I believe they will. But then all of a sudden, cash infusions from all these hedge funds started flooding this market, and that's what drove up our prices. So the market changed. Now we're sitting here talking about price adjustments. And sellers better, if they're going to sell, you better sell now. You better sell within the next 60 days. I just talked to a couple, and they wanted to wait until the first of the year. And I said, well, why is that? And they said, well, we got some equity. This is someone that's purchased a long time ago, didn't refi, just purchased a long time ago and stayed. They're getting divorced, regrettably. But they wanted to just stay and try to, get through the holidays. And I said, that's great. And if I could tell you what was going to go on January 1st, I'd be fine with all of that. But as we sit here today, this is what's happened. We've already jumped 30%. And you show them, and this is what I say by being educated in the market, you say, here's the price reductions that have occurred today. So you show them that prices are starting to peel back. And when they see that, they come to the conclusion, well, you know what, it's best that we get the cash in hand. I can't guarantee, but I can tell you this is probably about as much money as you're going to get today. I can't tell you what you're going to get in January, but today I can tell you this is, if you're happy with this, sell it today.
Yeah, and I see a lot of sellers coming up now. We're seeing about 80% of the market traditional sales, which is very encouraging. As you said, 30%, that's a big number. I sold a home in Rhodes Ranch for like $239 about a year and a half ago. Got an offer on it yesterday at $385.
Yeah.
And it was $375. We countered at $385. So we're seeing some nice appreciation, and we're seeing, because that 30% increase, the people that were underwater financially are not so deep underwater now. So there is help. I do sometimes try to emphasize, and it's a very insightful point that you shared, that the bubble, we're kind of on a bubble right now. We don't know coming into the holidays at the end of this year, 2013, coming into the holidays, the weather cools off, the market tends to cool off. Interest rates have come, I think, from 3.25 to about 4.5 or 6. It's a good time to sell now. And some people, I tell them, if you want to wait till the holidays, just either delay escrow closing or close and have a rent back. There's a lot of buyers that are happy to keep the homeowner there. They just want to be able to buy now before the rates go up.
Absolutely.
And lock in a price.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, if we've learned anything over the last 5 or 6 years of this roller coaster is what the market is today, what it is today. Tomorrow I can't tell you what it's going to be like. And we can just try to get some of these programs or some of these laws that are in effect to protect the homeowner, and that's really where we're at from what's gone on in the marketplace and the abuses that that have taken place. And I'm not talking just by the banks. I'm talking about the homeowners too. I mean, there certainly has been both sides of this street that have been beaten up. So forget who's to blame and what's to blame. It's we need to make the wisest decisions we can. That's all we're put here on this earth to do.
Yeah, use good judgment. Homeowners associations, you probably sat up close and personal some of the discussions in the legislature. Are they foreclosing more now, or is that just a leverage thing, or because I know a lot of them have been paying 3 or 4 years?
And this is where I get the banks back on my side, by the way.
Okay.
This is the part where I even the score with them, because they are getting the short end of this stick. You're absolutely right. The short version of this is the HOAs have been overly aggressive because it's a profit center for some associations. And by that I mean management companies. There are management companies in this valley that have abused the foreclosure process. I have asked the question, why do we allow an HOA to foreclose on the house? I don't know why we allow that to happen. Why do we allow an HOA to foreclose on a house, take away a house from an owner for a few months, and that's what it is, a few months of an assessment? We do so because there's a motivation on the part of some management companies that are making a lot of money by foreclosing on these properties. So what's the solution? The banks need to be protected. As crazy as it sounds, when this first came up about a year and a half ago, someone approached me and said, here's what the HOAs are doing. They are selling off their debt, their assessment debt, to investors who are going to foreclose on the home in the hopes of two things happening. One, they're going to rent it back to the homeowner and make their money back. So they'll pick this house up for $3,000, rent it out for $1,000 a month, and they're going to be made whole in 4 months with a profit. The second part is that they're hoping to win the lottery, because the way this law was constructed was that they are going to be in super priority position, which wipes out the first mortgage. That's crazy. I mean, that can't happen. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, as it turns out, that is the reason the law was written, and the gentleman that wrote the law says that's exactly what he wanted. He wants the bank to step up and pay that freight for the management company and the HOA to cover themselves so that they don't get wiped out. So, as crazy as it sounds, that's where the law is coming. So the banks do need to be protected in that. I mean, I just, for the sake of, for a few $1,000s, you shouldn't be wiping out tens of thousands of dollars of mortgage.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. That's a super lean state, and it seems that if that were possible or actually practical, I think that the HOAs would become filing on everyone and anyone that got behind, because they have lost money.
And they are.
And they're getting aggressive on that also.
A lot of these NODs, and when you go back and look, a lot of them, a majority of them, are filed by HOAs. They have become very aggressive towards filing these a notice of defaults for the HOAs. That's where a lot of them come from. It used to be when you go down to the trustee sale that they wouldn't even come anywhere near. If it was an HOA, they wouldn't go anywhere near it. Now it's the opposite. They are bidding these things up. I just had a short sale in a upscale neighborhood. The homeowner owned $29,000 when it came up with the fees and the fines and everything else. $29,000 to the HOA, and that person that came in and bought that, or I'm sorry, $18,000. The person that bought it for $29,000. So he got it for $11,000 more. Again, that goes to the management company for that debt. They just got to pay that 18 grand. That 11 grand goes to the management company.
Oh, so they can actually
do whatever they want.
It's almost an auction. I mean,
now the guy that absolutely, it is an auction. Absolutely, it's a trustee auction. It's just like a foreclosed property. So they go and they bid it up, and so I called the guy and said, we got an active short sale. We're very close. We can get you. I get you. We need your 29 plus. You need to make profit. We can get you that money. You just need to help us. You need to work with us. And he said, these are hard to get. He said, there is a house across the street from this one that was very similar, and it was bid up to $84,000.
Wow.
So that tells you there's a lot of money that's being shaken out of these trees going somewhere.
Wow, wow. And being how that wipes out the underlying loans,
Yeah.
similar to taxes. Are taxes
It's
also?
about a $700,000-800,000 home that the guy just picked up for $80,000. In theory, if this goes the way it is.
I think our phone's going to be ringing.
And we've always, as an association, I will tell you, we have always fought the collection company part of being put in a super priority.
Yeah.
I have driven a line in the sand and said, absolutely not, and that has been a very controversial issue up in Carson City. And we have lost some political friends over this. Sure. We've gained a lot, but because we felt that this is just the wrong way. This is the wrong message, wrong way.
Yeah, I get a lot of buyers that come to me and they're like, we don't want an association, we want to buy a home. And unfortunately, most of the newer communities, as the city's evolved, and I've been here since 1961, and this is 35 years that I've been full-time realtor, I have seen an evolution where the original homes all had no HOAs. Now everything that's been built around the corridor, say the 215 parameter, all the newer communities have installed at least minimal CCRs and some HOA fees for if it's just a minimum for landscaping of a neighborhood park or something. And of course it does have some protection. It's not that HOAs are bad. They do insulate property values because they do prohibit people from maybe painting the house purple or building a 500-foot CB antenna.
Which is their purpose. That's the purpose of the HOA.
Right, right.
They've gotten out of control.
Yeah, I think
other
that they
things.
Have. Yeah, they really have, and it's important to know that homeowners need to be protected from these. And I guess they can contact the counseling centers, or they can contact your office or my office, or contact an experienced realtor should they get a notice of default filed against their property, either by a bank or an HOA.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of options. There's a lot of help for the homeowners.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I tell my short sale people, pay your HOA. We can deal with the bank.
Sure.
The bank doesn't want to foreclose. HOAs do. So pay your HOA fees.
Somebody that might be behind 4 or 5 years on the HOA, at least set up a payment plan or something.
Exactly.
Because once they come at you, how long is it, 60 days or 90 days? I mean,
yeah, it can be quick. Yeah, they can set those timelines, and it can be a fairly quick process, So
it's nice to play nice in the sandbox with HOAs.
Be mad at them all you want, just pay their bill.
Pay the bills, that's right, that's right. Tell us in the last minute or two here a little bit about Keith. I'm sure you have a daughter who's a cheerleader, and you've been in Vegas for a while.
I'm blessed with a daughter, 11-year-old daughter. She knows everything already, so I'm done educating her, right? So at least from her side of things, you do. And I've been in this town for a number of years. 1989, I came down from Montana originally, and was involved in politics and ran campaigns and did some lobbying for a good number of years, but have truly the last, as I say, 2004, I got my real estate license, and this is the passion, and this is where this is my purpose, and trying to educate people and get involved in the association. Very important to me, very important to this valley.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have such a professional agent and someone that's put so much back into the industry with the education and the volunteer work you've done. And if you need a good realtor, it's always good to have someone like Keith on your team, and that's why I put him on, the star quarterback. I'm the coach, and always love to have you on. I hope we can have you on again. And
love being here.
And you got the good luck of the Irish.
Hey, there you go.
All right.
Can't go wrong.
Thanks for being on the show today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for all you do for our community. We sure appreciate it. I'm Greg Attamore, your host, Experts of Southern Nevada. It's been a pleasure to be in your homes with you today. Please tune in next Tuesday at 5 o'clock and at 9:30 a.m. for our next show. And thanks for sharing with us.